Hey guys, I hope you enjoy the rotator cuff and shoulder pain class. This is 2 free CE credits from the National Certification Board. It's approved for Homestudy if your state accepts Homestudy CEs. If you are in Texas, you got to keep in mind that Texas doesn't allow hands-on instruction, so for now we're kind of blocked, but this class is absolutely free. You don't have to purchase anything else. I'm going to go ahead and make sure there are links below so you can purchase the full class. This will be on YouTube, so you can click below here or on Facebook to be able to sign up for the free version for the 2 free CE credits. As you go along in class with me, I'm going to be throwing up various graphics so that I can communicate with you. It means that I'm going to be able to put anatomy on screen as I'm talking seamlessly. Going to be able to give you information about the various structures that we're going to be working on while I go back and forth to my cameras. The way this class is intended to be used is you partner with someone. You're going to give and receive live while we work on the infraspinatus, while we work on the teres group, while we work on the triceps brachii, while we're going through that anatomy and showing you how to work on that. I'm going through it in detail, giving you different information. It's going to be, in this class at least, table-based. In future classes, it'll be mat-based. We have a tendency to do a table class, then what I call a mat mirror, which means we do some of the same stuff on a mat to make you comfortable with that environment. Then we go in the third class into mat mastery, which is deeper use of our legs and feet to be able to compress areas related to shoulder pain and the rotator cuff. You guys enjoy this class. If you have any questions for me, feel free to contact me. Happy to chat with you. At the bare minimum, after you sign up for this free class, there's a link down below so you can sign up for our subscription service. There are 600 hours of my classroom instruction, every class I've taught since 2017, available inside that vault. I'd love for you to go ahead and partake of that, and it's completely free to get started. Afterwards, it's just $7 a month. Again, thank you for participating in this class, and without further ado, we're going to go ahead and straight into the video. You guys have a great day. This is brutally effective work for people in shoulder pain. When I was coming up with names for class, I decided on rotator cuff and shoulder pain because I thought it sort of encapsulated a lot of, what we're doing. We're going to be flipping camera angles just like this live. So if there's something you can't see, you got to see something again, just text me. Just tell me, hey, listen, I need an angle. Can I see where your hand was or whatever? And then I can easily just like flip into this camera so you can see that, or, flip into the camera so you can see. Shoulder pain in particular, I think shoulder work is kind of like the high art, okay? Shoulder pain, if you're effective at helping clients with it, can be really amazing. The challenge with the shoulder joint is that the shoulder joint has the largest range of motion of any joint in the body. So there's tons of tiny muscles that control this movement, and a person could be having pain in like any number of muscles. Today, especially because we're talking about the intake, I want to talk about stuff that I've seen in practice, and I think this is what you guys are really paying for. It's like 20 years of like working on people in chronic pain. I had a horrible problem years ago with my infraspinatus. Now, my shoulder hurt so bad that I was literally hooking my shoulder blade over a shelf and trying to like pull my shoulder blade off. Now, I didn't know what was bothering me, and this was after massage school, by the way. This was after having gone to massage school. I couldn't figure out where, or what the problem was. I had really bad pain, and if you'd ask me, I'm like, it's just in my shoulder. Like, man. And it's like, if you'd asked me, it always feels like it's deep down to the bone. It wasn't superficial. It wasn't like, and if anything, what I did was, I'm the massage therapist, right? I would sit here and do this and go, ugh, because I couldn't get it to stop hurting. Well, the problem is I'm having pain up here, right? Look at my hand right here. I'm having pain right here, right? The muscles in the back. It's referring pain to the front. So there are some of these that I'm going to have to go over in a little bit more detail related to our communication with clients. meaning when we are putting this together, we have to be able to have a really effective consult with the client to be able to figure out what they're having a problem with so we know what to address. If we can't do that, we're just kind of like feeling around in the dark. And as a body worker, we don't have scans. I don't have x-ray vision. I'm not Superman. I have to communicate with the client to find out like what they've been doing or what the problem is. Now, for this class, I want you to pay special attention, right? Because it was my left side. I'm left-handed. I worked at a FedEx plant, sorting packages, 50-pound boxes. You're throwing these with these tiny muscles, okay? My shoulder started to hurt, and I couldn't even get anybody in massage school to work on it because how many people spend time working on infraspinatus?
Not many.
I have gone to therapists and said, listen, I have a problem with this specific muscle, infraspinatus. I need you to put cross fiber friction into this muscle to help me. I have shoulder pain. I'm a massage therapist. Please help me. They'll deliver an entire session of effleurage, and at the end, they'll rub over my skin on my shoulder blade and go, okay, thank you so much. I hope you had a good session. That is how I made money, because I actively worked on people's pain. And I want you to see this, okay? Visually, look at this, all right? This is infraspinatus. I had a yoga teacher come in to see me. She was around 70 years old. She said, I have shoulder pain. I can't do certain yoga poses anymore. She was kind of starting to get upset as she's discussing this with me verbally. And I said, where does it hurt? And she's like, right here. And I went, ooh, you not gonna like it. I know what it is. You ain't gonna like it. This session is not gonna be fun. I was like, the problem's your infraspinatus. You have a muscle at the back of your shoulder blade and your rotator cuff that's causing some problems. Now, here's the other thing you're gonna see. Are you ready? People will come in and say, I have shoulder pain. They say the exact same words coming out of their mouth. I have shoulder pain. You ask where, and they'll say it hurts deep down in the joint here. And then it like runs down the back of my arm. Now, here's the main difference. These two things, okay, this is important. You have to work with me on this. Infraspinatus, anterior scalene. I have shoulder pain. Infraspinatus, anterior scalene. The anterior scalene's in the neck, right? The anterior scalene is in the neck. On the left side is the anterior. On the right side is scalenus medius, the big guy, and scalenus posterior. Those muscles can clamp down on nerves, especially coming out of C6 and C7, that do what? Run down into the shoulder and then run down the arm. So they've got a crimp, so to speak, on the nerve. They've got a muscle going in a spasm, pressing on that nerve, so they feel it in their shoulder. They feel it down their arm. They feel it in a fork in their chest. Huge referred pain patterns. The two that I need you to remember for today, and we're going to go over this each class. Infraspinatus, anterior scalene. Even here, oh, it runs down my arm. Like kind of like your tricep, kind of like your back. You're like, yeah. Almost always, those are the two muscles I have to take a look at. There's a lot of therapists who will not work on the scalenes because they're like, it's dangerous. You're near the carotid artery. And it's like, no. The carotid artery is in the front. The scalenes are at the side, okay? When you do an intake with the client, one, you need to ask them, did they have an injury?
Did I? No.
What do they do?
I work out.
You work out. I keep telling her and Kristen, I don't know why they work out. You got to stop this. Why are you doing what you do?
Gotta build strength.
So when you're working out, like I always talk about you as like CrossFit. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're like lifting stuff.
Yeah, functional fitness.
Which means essentially it's like, okay, when a CrossFitter, and I'll use that as a more extreme example, but it could be a guy who hangs sheetrock. It could be a plumber. It could be somebody who works at a desk and he's got a problem in his right side because listen, this is how he moves his mouse. And then I go, dude, why don't you get a trackball and just sit it in your lap and just move your thumb? And they're like, oh my God. Because they're just interfacing with the computer, moving the thing around. They never think about that at all, okay? So that's something that you're going to have to ask the person. On their form, they'll say, I have shoulder pain. They'll circle the shoulder.
The whole thing?
And it's like front of the shoulder, side of the shoulder, back of the shoulder, down the arm, up into the head, like what, where? My clients that I work with are always like kind of taken aback because I don't just look at the paperwork. I go, so what's giving you problems?
Huh. Exactly. So for me, it's there in the rhomboid. I always have that issue on the left side. It just feels like a knot, but I know it's coming from up here because every time you work this area.
The scalenes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every time you work it.
So do you hear what she just said? I have a problem with my rhomboids, but I know it's coming from my scalenes. Most clients can't tell you that. They just go, I have a problem with my rhomboids. And guess what the therapist does? They put the person prone, they take their forearm and elbow and some lubricant, and they basically grind the rhomboid out. And guess what happens to that pain when the session is over?
Makes it worse.
Almost nothing.
Yeah.
And this is why I have to go and do just a little bit more detail anatomically. I'm not always going to be able to tell you, this is the muscle we work, because sometimes I don't know. Like even me, occasionally, somebody will have something and I can't quite pinpoint, what's going on. So for you, just because I'm doing the intake, so to speak, like giving them an idea what's going on, like when does your arm or like your rotator cuff or when does stuff hurt?
When I'm doing more upper body work, so.
Which is?
All of this.
Lifting dumbbells,
Yes.
lifting
dumbbells, barbells, what else? Lots of farmers carry, overhead stuff, just building up the traps.
Yeah.
A lot of that. So anytime we work on this, that starts to hurt.
Okay. And in your case, I mean, you work with me enough, you know that your neck is at least involved.
Oh yeah.
Well, a lot of people, if the client came in and said they're having shoulder problems, they would immediately just start like going to the shoulder. And I did put the deltoids on screen because I do think the deltoids are important. But I don't think the deltoids are as problematic as some other muscles. They're important. Like I don't want you to feel like they're not, because I mean they're in our body, they do things, they move stuff around. But I also think for shoulder pain, serratus anterior is a problem. And is serratus anterior the shoulder? Not really, but if people are having problems with serratus anterior, it changes the position of the shoulder blade, and then the changing of the position of the shoulder blade means it changes position of the shoulder joint. People who have serratus anterior problems will develop shoulder pain quite often. People who have deltoid pain will have pain in the shoulder itself, a little bit more superficial. It doesn't feel as deep to me in my experience as infraspinatus. Then two of the horrible guys that I know very well is teres major and minor. Now who loves getting this worked on? Oh, that's a joy, isn't it? Oh, it's just everything I've ever wanted in a muscle that made me want to cut my arm off. Yeah. So the next issue is again the scalenes, right? The anterior scalene is on the left. The scalenus medius and posterior is on the right. We're going to go over this again and again. Don't feel like you have to memorize it. But when we go ahead and get started, I'm going to give you like a little routine, starting with serratus anterior. I want to give you a little bit of a routine, okay? Everybody's shoulder pain is going to be a little bit different. It depends on what they tell me what I'm going to do first. I cut my teeth, you can see back here. You see these workbooks and DVDs? Intro tie, table tie, phase 1, phase 2. This was designed to be 90 hours worth of curriculum just to get people started. Then people started saying, I don't know, but what do I do for shoulder pain? And I'm like, you haven't understood what I've been teaching. Oh my God, why? Why? No, you just do it, then you know it. And then the theory doesn't matter because you know, because you've had experience of it. Does that make sense? So I'll give you a shoulder pain sequence, but do I always follow the sequence? No. I have to completely change it depending on what the person is telling me. When you feel pain, don't worry about muscles, don't worry about the fact that you're a massage therapist. Where do you feel pain?
Right there.
It's always in the back.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this lower edge of the shoulder blade.
Like
now,
right up underneath.
here's something I did right here, okay? So I came in, I'll see if you can see this. No, you can't see my hand there. Can you see me there? Yeah, sort of. No, not light enough. Right there, sort of. So she touched over here. And all I did was like, hey, can you show me where it is? And she like reaches her arm up and I go, listen, is it always like right here?
Yeah.
Is it like right along your spine?
Yeah.
Cool. So what I did right there is I just wanted to connect with the client real fast. I wanted them to have me know that I'm going to press on their stuff and help them with it. That's all. You have to do an extremely thorough intake. And when I do the intake, the other thing is I actually want to do something wild and crazy, which is make eye contact with the person. If this was your paperwork and I was like, oh, Andrea, it looks like you're having shoulder pain. How's that going? How connected do you feel to me right now?
Not at all. I feel like I'm like, are you even?
So, and when people come to us for body work and massage,
Yeah.
connection.
Connection.
Yeah. Like I had to tell Kristen recently, we had this conversation, how much of our work, and I mean this literally, how much of our work is body work, compression, shear, technique, and how much of it is connection and communication?
Yeah. Yep.
And here's what I think it is. Like you're always going to refine technique. I'll keep showing you technique, but really, really deeply, I want you to understand this. If I can go, hey, Andrea, what are you having a problem with? And communicate with you and make eye contact and say, oh, okay, so is it only on this left side over here?
Yep, mostly.
Cool, it doesn't happen on the right side?
Nope.
Oh, okay, cool, interesting. So what I've done is I'm maintaining this connection with her. I'm building a therapeutic relationship. And the part of that relationship is the connection and care. I have a lot of people who come to me for chronic pain because that's what I market for. People start crying during the intake. Women especially, because they'll tell me I've got this pain and the doctors tell me I'm crazy and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Thank you, medical professional doctor, sir, asshole. It's like, would you stop telling women they're crazy when they're in pain? Like just because you can't find it doesn't mean they're not having a problem. Like, and I just, here's what I do. I make eye contact, connect with them, ask them, okay, listen, I know you're having physical pain. How is it affecting your life?
It makes it hard to do things.
And they're like, oh, my husband doesn't listen to me and my kids get frustrated and I'm short-tempered and I get angry in traffic and I'm blowing my horn and I'm like, and you got to go shopping and you're at a 6 on a pain scale out of 10. And they're like, whoa. I'm like, yeah, I work on chronic pain. Like I know, I mean, I don't have your chronic pain, but I've had chronic pain. I know how it weighs down on you. That beginning process helps engender the client with a connection towards me.
Yep.
They feel like I'm actually connecting with them, and I think that's a hugely important piece, okay? If clients came in and all we did was walk them over and say, well, it sounds like you're having problems with your serratus anterior, and I believe that your anterior scalene involvement is causing a disruption at C6 to C7, referring pain down your arm. I also suspect that the way that you're using your teres major and minor. Do you feel connected at all?
I feel like, are you a robot?
Yeah. And I purposely changed my voice that way because it's like, here's what I want to do. I would teach the client the anatomy, but I kind of teach them the anatomy as I work on it and as we go through it. And then if I've gotten them huge benefit, okay, so let's say give a pain scale. This is very common. 10 is the hospital, 0 is no pain. 10, dying, got to go to the hospital, got to get morphine, got to get a doctor. 0, no pain at all. When you have pain in your like rotator cuff or rhomboid or whatever that is back there, like what is that number-wise? 10's hospital, 0's no pain.
I would say about a 4.
About a 4. Is it like that all the time?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
It drops?
Yeah.
Does it get worse?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
It can get up to like a 6.
It can get up to a 6.
Yeah.
What's it at right now?
Right now it's probably like a 2.
Like a 2? Okay.
Yeah, so
and then 4 is average.
Yeah.
Okay. So that she's got some vacillation. It goes from a 6 to a 2. That's actually good. Here's what the problem is. Once the number gets up to 6 and stays and is completely intractable, she's that much closer to the Oxycontin epidemic.
Yeah.
And I'm very brutal about that. I work on chronic pain. I know what chronic pain is like. I used body work and yoga and all the stuff I do to get out of chronic pain so that I didn't have to shoot dope, okay? Because I had to survive, and the medical community gave me no answers whatsoever. She's at a 2 right now. Typically, what I feel comfortable with, if the problem is musculoskeletal, if the problem is tissue, Soft tissue. We are soft tissue pain specialists. I have no issue saying, listen, I'd love to be able to take you and see if I can take you from a 2 to a 0. That's my hope. We're going to see what happens. 2 points on a pain scale. I'm setting expectations for the client in communication. I'm looking at you, but I'm also, because I can't make eye contact with you and eye contact with you. That's a little harder. Yeah. But the deal is, I'm like, okay, how would you feel if I could take you from a 2 to a 0 in one session?
I would love that.
In an hour. Great. Cool.
Yes.
Now, sometimes people will get more relief than that, but I think 2 is just reasonable expectations. I'll tell them real quick, listen, because I know what you're having, but normally I would say, listen, I think I know what it is. I think it's one specific muscle in your neck. We're going to find out very fast. If it is that muscle, I don't want you to think you can just do one session and you're good forever. Body work and our bodies is ongoing maintenance. What I would like to do is, if I'm able to reduce you by 2 points on a scale, I think that we can reduce you by 2 points on a scale regularly. Which means, let's say she came in at a 6. Okay, how would you feel if I could take you to a 4?
Wonderful.
Great. Now, my hope is we could do more than that, but I just want to set reasonable expectations. I also think that your body is like you're an athlete, you're a CrossFitter, you're doing stuff to your arms. It's something you're going to need ongoing work for. If I can reduce you by 2 points on a pain scale, I'm going to be happy. But here's the deal. If I can reduce it by 2 points on a pain scale once, we can do it again.
Yeah.
And if we can do it again, I can do it again and show you how to work on yourself.
Which is what's
And
happening.
then
That's why
your
I'm
pain will drop even lower.
Yeah.
If the problem is soft tissue. That's kind of the verbiage I would go through rapidly with a client to try to explain. Because what I'm trying to do is set up expectations and rebooking. Because if I'm able to do what I just said, 2 points on a pain scale, and she's like, wow, he actually did it. It's like bringing your car to a mechanic and they go, listen, man, you're having a problem with the spark plugs and the catalytic converter. It sounds like your car's doing this. I want to go ahead and change the spark plugs. It'll cost this much, and the catalytic converter will cost this much. But I noticed, listen, there's an oil leak real deep in the engine. It's not so bad that like you got to, get a new engine. But I think in a month or two, you might want to bring it back so we can keep like working on it. Do you feel angry at that mechanic, or do you feel like, oh wow, that was really great?
Yeah.
Because he gave me two smaller things, my catalytic converter and then spark plugs, and then told me there's another issue, but he wants to keep that nurturing kind of like ongoing relationship.
Yeah.
It's also not something that hits me all of a sudden. I know what's going on. Make sense? So we're helping people with pain. We're helping them with shoulder pain, rotator cuff stuff. Can be fairly complex. I'm going to go ahead and start the body work. We're about 20 minutes in. Go ahead and lay down on your side for me. When I start working on shoulder pain, more often than not, I have the person on the side. I love side lying for a variety of reasons, but I also find side lying to be the best for the shoulder because I can have the person move their shoulder around. I can access things from a completely different angle. And did I have to deal with drape? Did I have to deal with cream and glide? Did I have to deal with nudity? I'm like, hey, John, listen, take off your shoes, lay down on the table just like you are on your side. You can put your head on the pillow here. I gave them a little bolster so their hips were more stable so they could sort of let go. Can I have you scoot just a little bit that way? You got enough space there?
Yes.
Cool. And then lift your head for me. I'm going to scoot that pillow over just a bit. There. So from here, what I want to do is start to access, is that the problem side, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, so I didn't say this. She naturally just put the problem side up. I want her to put the problem side up because I want to be able to come in and go, listen, usually, is it right back here where the problem is? It's always right back there?
Yeah.
Yay, I got positive feedback. I was not reported to TDLR.
Not this time.
Right in here, right?
Yeah.
Does it go higher than that?
Not usually.
Or is it usually just like at this bottom angle right there? Okay. So from here, I don't exactly know. Could it be her lower trap? Because I can kind of cross fiber into it, right?
Yeah.
I can catch the erectors, the paraspinals. What I want to do is I want to change this, and I want to come in I'm gonna move my microphone. In your case, you don't have to move your microphone. I'm gonna sit right up next to her so that she knows she's not gonna fall off the table, okay? And then what's gonna happen is I'm gonna lift up her arm and reach around, and I wanna be able to do this. I wanna be able to get a good grip on the shoulder and kind of pull her back and open. The reason having my body here is nice is she knows she's not gonna fall off the table. So just this can be great for upper back and neck pain. You guys have probably seen me do this repeatedly, like again and again and again. In her case, I'm gonna hook around the shoulder blade here because I wanna see if I can kind of lift and pull. How's that?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
So these fingers over here are just hooking. I'm not really like digging. I'm not, that's not that. I'm just hooking here and then using this hand to pull the shoulder blade and kind of pull this back and open. Okay? And then I'm gonna, a little bit of pressure. It's all on, in her case, on this left side of the spine. You guys are starting your trade, by the way.
I lied. I said it didn't go up.
But it is tender as I press on it. Okay, so there's a difference too. It's like, does it hurt just when you're sitting at rest? Does it only hurt when you're active?
Mostly active.
Okay, mostly active. And then this stuff up here is tender when I press on it, but this doesn't normally hurt.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that communication is the thing that I was saying you got to continue to work on with people. So the deal is, when I get into serratus, one of the reasons I did this, because I'm giving you a little sequence, I want to hook into this first. Now, you'll notice that when I had her like this, I was taking her and then rolling her back and open. Rolling this back and open. Does that lengthen? Yes. It's pulling the shoulder blade. It's lengthening serratus anterior. Now, I don't have to focus on it in the sense that there's so many different muscles we're working on. Sometimes the people don't even know what we're working on, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is come back down. I'm going to lift up her arm. Now, my sacrum is almost at her sacrum. I find this to be the most stable. I'm going to press down along the rib cage, okay? I'm not in the pecs in the front. I'm not in the back here. I'm very much right on top, just like this, right at the side body. Now, I'm using my big, broad forearm because I'm trying to find a spot. And it's like I can feel, I'm not being aggressive, okay? I can feel, okay, this kind of floater ribs almost. As I go up, it's like, oh, it starts to get dense as I start to hit the edge of the muscle there at serratus anterior. I'm starting to hit that. So I'm gonna find a good spot right in there. I'm leaning down with this forearm, and then slowly what I'm gonna do is shear to the back. I'm right here and I'm gonna shear back this direction. So do you want forward or back?
Oh yeah, right there.
Almost always, this is what I see, they'll prefer to the back. And it's because you're lengthening that serratus anterior. Her arm is just resting on mine. I'm creating space so that she can do that. Sorry about reaching back for your leg there. Okay. Your nose itch?
Stop.
So the issue from here is I'm hooking and then I'm going to shear back, and I want you to tell me when. Right there?
Yeah.
Do you need more pressure?
Yeah.
Do you want it to be sharper?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna sharpen like my elbow. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this arm, I'm gonna wrap, and I'm gonna pull her into me. How's that?
Yes.
There we go. Now to the back.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Now, do you see this crazy kind of handle? I've got my hand wrapped around my shoulder here. Then I'm grabbing there. How's that?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. When it gets to Disney tunes, we're winning. You dying right there?
No.
Do you like, no? So, if I rock up and down, how's that?
Oh, it feels awesome.
Is that too much?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I need that.
Now, a lot of people, I mean, how often, I'm a massage therapist, how often did I take my fingers and reach over to my other side and start to like press into that? Almost never. It's really difficult, in fact, to be able to access your own unless you're using some sort of outside tool like a foam roller. Right there? Mm-hmm. There we go. Yerp. Yerp. Mm-hmm. Are you dead?
Not yet.
You are not dead.
Not yet.
I'm not dead yet.
I'm not dead yet.
So, a little more to the back and a little rock up and down.
Yeah.
There we go. The kneading. You like the kneading?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not too sharp.
No.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I want to go a little bit higher. I want to go a little bit higher on the serratus. So you can see how it's all underneath the shoulder blade there. Pulls the shoulder blade forward when those muscles shorten. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and lift her arm, and I want to bring my forearm a little higher, closer to the axillary border, closer to the armpit. And then I'm going to have her arm come back down. How's that right there?
Feels good.
Is that more tender than the prior spot?
No.
No. Okay. Right there.
Yeah.
Now, knead.
Oh, yeah.
Is it too much?
It's on the edge.
Okay. Now, Danielle Omo, who I will call out right here, even though she's not here to defend herself, I don't care. She prison shanks me. She loves taking her elbow and like, I'm like, ah, because it feels like you shivved a guy, like,
Yeah.
you know.
She's just digging in you.
I have problems on my left side, right? Left rotator cuff. I was working at a facility doing like hard manual labor. When Danielle softens and uses a big, broad, fleshy forearm, oh, right there, and she hangs out and she goes to the back, and I'm like, oh, it completely allows all those muscles to soften. Mm-hmm. I do this with Kristen regularly because I work with her where sometimes I'll use a little too much pressure on purpose, just so that she can feel, you know, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's not because,
Do that to me.
like that?
Ah, that's not nice.
Exactly. Well, you told me to.
I said, I was question.
And all I had to do was like, I've got 2 points, right? All I did was shift into the elbow. That's all it takes, half the time. If we can use a broad tool and then slowly work them to their edge, that edge is where the magic seems to happen, in my experience. How's that right there? Mm-hmm. So you were talking about your deltoids. You think you have problems with those specifically?
Yeah.
Somewhat? Okay.
I'm sure they're tight.
Now, I've done some like sustained broad contact. I'm going to lift this up, and I'm just going to, just a little. I just want to see. I'm kind of holding her elbow so I can move this around. How's that?
Feels good.
That's not too much?
No.
Okay. All good?
Yes.
There we go. Right in there?
Yeah.
There. Is that too much?
No.
Okay. You're not slapping yourself in the face?
No.
Okay.
No.
Now, if I found a real specific spot that I felt like I needed to hang out in, typically, what do? General to specific, superficial to deep. General to specific, superficial to deep. Those are the rules. If I want to give her a break for a second, we worked on the serratus anterior. I want to go to the deltoid. I'm going to put her arm at her side, and then I'm going to start to grab that middle deltoid right along here. And I'm using this hand right here just so I didn't want her arm to fall down. I'm like holding this in place while I'm working through here. Now, if I want to go to the posterior, I just roll her forward a little bit. If I want to go to the posterior, I just roll her forward. If I want to go to the anterior, I just roll her a little bit back. Any of this stuff through the deltoid, I can access from this position, including, am I working on the spine? Am I working on shoulder blade? Am I working on thoracic extension? Yes, because I can roll her back and open, and I can roll her forward, depending on what I need to access. Of what we press in here, is it more in the middle?
No, I think it's more posterior.
Posterior?
Yeah.
Right in there?
Uh-huh.
Now, thumbs can be mean. Oh, thumbs can be mean right there.
Yeah.
Oh. So I'm going to put your arm right here. How does that feel for you?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. And then if I come in right here, what I'm going to do is like her shoulder was a little too far forward. I'm going to grab here, pull this back, and then how about right there? How's that? Is that too much?
Oh, no, it's amazing.
That's amazing. Okay, she likes that.
It's awful and amazing.
It's awful and amazing right there.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah.
And this is more superficial. This is warming up this area, okay? Warming, working through, I can stop. If you're working with something, let's say I use my forearm and it's like it's too much on my elbow or shoulder or something, change. Use a different tool. Sometimes I get tired of just like, I'm just tired of using this. I use this for a minute, so I'm gonna switch right into there.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Right in there.
Yeah.
Right in there. Right in there. And this is mainly me hooking my thumbs right straight down, right into there.
Not nice.
Right into there. Ooh. 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 Now, if I keep digging with thumbs, digging with my thumbs, digging with my thumbs, my hands will get tired. I'm not here to wear myself out. I'm trying to work effectively. Depending on what I wanted to do, I could completely change the sequence, and go, oh, we need to compress your tricep, work on the posterior deltoid. We could change her position. For now, she's still in side lying. I want to go ahead and go a little bit into infraspinatus, which is at the back. It's the back of the shoulder blade, right? So when you take a look at this guy, right at the back of the shoulder blade, right along the axillary border, axilla, armpit. So when I decide to work on this, if I put a lot of pressure right here, it's like pushing her shoulder blade like down, and it's almost like cramping all this stuff through her thoracic region. What I'm gonna do is, we had the arm there, I'm gonna bring her back up again, because I wanna be able to reach my hand back here to get into infraspinatus, okay? Now this is easy for me to find. I need to find the bottom edge of the shoulder blade, and when you find this, that's where my thumb is. If you find the shoulder joint, the infraspinatus follows that line. Look at the anatomy right here. Do you see it right along that axillary border? Do you see how I can easily cross fiber friction from this position? So you find the very bottom angle, right over here, right to the shoulder. Then I'm going to come in and I want to cross fiber. And it's a big, mean, brutal. She's running away. She's running away. This is all the fun. This is where you cover your face because you don't want the audience to see how much pain you're in right now. As my finger is like, my thumb is cross fiber frictioning infraspinatus. Now, if I just sit and do that, it's like plucking like a bass string. Like it's a big, thick junction of muscle. What I get better relief at is taking 2 or 3 knuckles, the flat. And I'm all on top, okay? All on top of the shoulder blade, right into infraspinatus. If you want the biggest, meatiest section, if you go between the inferior angle and the shoulder, you go up to midway. When you get up to midway, that's where you use your knuckles, right there, to get started. And I can change the angle. I can go up and down, I can go side to side, I can go around. How's that right there?
Oh, that's awful.
That's awful. Cool. Are you getting any referred pain?
Yeah. Right
Where?
There.
Right where?
Right there.
That, see? Okay, so she's feeling referred pain up here. Where am I pressing? See? You see what I said about referred pain? I'm pressing back here. When I hook into there, you getting referred pain in that same spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now when I get into right there, is it worse?
Yeah.
Okay. This is right, this isn't the border, this is the higher portion, still below the spine of the scapula. Okay, ready? Supraspinatus I don't have loaded in our anatomy. Supra means above. Infra means below. Infraspinatus, below the spine of the scapula. Infrared is below the red on the spectrum of light. Infrared. Make sense? Below, right in there. So I have to be cautious in here. My fingers will get tired. I'm going to go back to knuckles. I can use flat knuckles like this. I can use knuckles like that. You tell me what the person wants. Do, 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 do. So much fun. She loves this. She loves this. She loves all this area. It's just a joy to have somebody digging on muscles you have problems with because they're stabilizing the head of your humerus, using your elbow to slide down people's erector muscles as a massage therapist because you're causing some of the shoulder pain that, oh, that's why. Because you're using the muscles of the rotator cuff to stabilize the head of the humerus so you can deliver pressure with your forearm and elbows. Yeah, right in there. Killing you? Right in there.
It feels amazing, and I'm trying to breathe through it.
Okay, so my hand starts to get tired. Doing all this. I'm gonna take a break for a second. I'm gonna back off. I'm gonna just back off. I'm just gonna lean again and pull her back and open. This is a good breather. Just going back to making it easy. Right over. She pressed the button and made all my audio go away. Just destroyed the class.
Sorry.
Her ponytail decided it was going to teach. Right in there?
Yeah.
Right in there?
Shit.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
sorry.
Nice. That's good. I'll cut just that piece. Oh, shit. What I do is I take all the cursings and I link them together in one big long video. It's like an hour long. It's nice. Right there? So I've been sitting like in this position for quite a while. I just want to change my position. I feel like I've been sitting on this left side of my tuchus over here. I'm going to come up. Now I can hook right into those deltoids again. How's that? Cool. I can change the angle. You see that? Because I can hook in right here and I can roll her back and open. What do you think? More to the front?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Right there. There we go. Or more to the middle.
The middle doesn't really feel like anything.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So
Yeah.
more to the front.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, just give me different ways of working, right? Now, we've softened a lot of those muscles, and then I slowly want to get into the teres group, okay? The teres group is right at that axillary border. Look at the angle, okay, between teres major, teres minor. Think about origin and insertion. The teres minor deals with external rotation of the shoulder. The teres major deals with internal rotation. See the difference from the left to the right, major, minor? They're right along that axillary border, just like the infraspinatus was. The way that I'm going to access that is by coming in like along the axillary border right here, okay? So I've softened serratus. We've softened a little bit of infraspinatus so I can even get to this next set of muscles. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to lift her arm and I'm going to start to grab right in there. She's already running away. She's already living in fear because I'm hooking right in there. Now, some people, just like her, they're being a little bit ticklish, right?
It's like a tickle and
Yeah.
pain at the same time.
But I have problems with the area. I'm not particularly ticklish, but I don't want to tickle someone because they're just going to like tighten up. I want to be able to kind of go in slow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back up just like I was, but I'm going to come in here real slow. I'm going to see if I can grab, and I'm trying to use my fingers to see if I can crimp, if I can grab around this little junction right here. And instead of jumping, I'm just going to deal with this passive mobilization. So my left hand is hooking, my right hand is one moving the arm around. How's that?
Much better.
Much better. You can receive that, right?
Yep.
Okay. What does it feel better, when I roll you to the back or kind of up?
I think, yeah.
Kind of like that?
Right there.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. Can you, without slapping me, can you lift your arm and start to move it around?
I have to look to make sure.
Active mobilization. Active mobilization. You put the athlete, the person in pain, in control. She can bring it right to her edge. Now, because my arms are free now, I want you to bring it down just a little bit to your side, but just a little bit up. Can you hold that for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach in with both hands.
Oh, Lord.
There we go. That gives me a little more grip. So can you move it around again?
Yeah.
There we go.
Right there.
She's covering her face so she could run away.
Oh,
That was good, huh?
yes.
So here's the thing. Immediately, do you see how she raises her arm up? That's what she wants. How long am I going to be able to maintain that? Probably not very long, but it's given me a little bit more isolation. We're thinking more specifically about that teres group, right? Major and minor. When she's got her arm above her head, it lengthens both teres major and teres minor. What I want to do is come in with her arm like this. Are you okay in the shoulder joint there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to hook. And this is right at the axillary border. How's that right there?
That's awesome.
Cool. Now, this down here is serratus. This is getting right into the shoulder blade. How's that?
Awful.
Awful. Nice.
Went from awesome to not.
Nice. Right there. This is what you pay me for?
Yeah.
Right there?
Oh,
to be
geez.
mean? Yes. How's that?
It's awful.
Now, is it too much on the shoulder joint?
No.
Because if it was, because some people's range of motion, maybe people have adhesive capsulitis, they have frozen, maybe they can't move their shoulder this way. I can take some pressure off by hooking right here, and that way I can lift her up. That's going to give me a little bit more slack, right? This is the muscle almost fully lengthened. This is the muscle with a little bit more slack, so I can move it around. How's that? Now, back to front or up and down?
I think they're both all awful.
They're both awful. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So it's like being single or being in a relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
They're both awful.
They're both awful in their own ways.
Right there.
Ugh.
Oh. Now, I'm going to take her arm down and back. And you see how she gave me that, it was just a little too much. It was a little too much stuff too fast, right?
I thought it felt amazing.
Gonna bring her back and over.
But I like torturous things, so.
How's that? And this is general, this feels nice. Mobilization or rocking is kind of my effleurage, is what I tell people, okay?
Do I do it again?
So what I'm gonna have her do is, I'm gonna have her sit up real quick. I just wanna see, like, how does that feel, Andrea?
Oh, let's see.
How does your arm feel? She came in to me, she's got shoulder pain. How's it feel?
I can move it.
Do you still have pain in that shoulder blade?
A little bit.
A little bit, okay.
Yeah, but it's always there.
Yeah.
So.
So here's what I'm gonna do. She has pain more on one side, but I wanna do at least a little bit on the opposite side, just so she has something to compare it to, right? So they can have don't get me wrong, if she came in and I had a 2-hour session, I might spend an hour and 30 minutes just working on the problem side. But then I might just flip her over and do the other side real rapidly just to make sure she feels a little more balanced. It also gives her a baseline of like maybe what normal is. So go ahead and flip to the other side. And then same basic routine. She's prepping herself, getting herself ready. Cool, right there?
Yeah.
All right. And then I'm gonna come in. Let's see if I can, give me space here.
Did I give you enough?
Oh, you should be fine.
Okay.
There we go. And I'm gonna hook around the shoulder blade. Gonna gently pull. How's that?
Amazing.
Good. Back this way. Too fast or too sharp makes them like tighten up. Go slow. That's also why I have a tendency to extend the sessions and make the sessions 3 hours. Gives me plenty of time to do like a 90-minute kind of general, full body. And then a 90-minute, hey, let's work on our rotator cuff. Let's hook that up. Now, how about here along your shoulder blade? A little bit. Still feels good, but it's not the main issue you came in with because that's on the other side, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Sometimes people like me, you work on my right side. My left side is a problem, right? But you work on my right side and I go, ooh, man, I didn't know that was so tight in there. Because I don't have any pain. I'm not as aware of that right side. So down, and back and over.
Yeah.
There we go. Now, just like before, I want to be able to hook into the serratus anterior. Gonna lift this guy up, gonna hook big and broad right in here. Big and broad right in there. Right in there. How's that?
Yeah, this side is like, you could go harder if you wanted to. Yeah. It feels good, but yeah, it's like,
Somebody was telling me that the audio and video is great except for the ponytail glitch. And as soon as I read like, you know, something about the audio, I'm like, oh no, please tell me it's working. And I'm like, oh, it's working fine. Yeah, it's working fine.
Sorry.
Right in there. Right in there.
Stupid hair.
There we go. Now you can see I'm not pinning her arm here. I'm just letting this come along for the ride. Do you like more to the back there?
Yeah.
There we go. Is that too much?
Nope.
Okay. And then do you want more pressure?
Yes, always.
So do you see, I'm not leaning in more. I'm pulling myself into her body. How's that?
Yeah.
There we go. Just at her edge. It doesn't matter to me how much pressure. Listen, if all you did was hang out and just kind of grab skin and just go right there, that could, for somebody who's in a lot of pain, that could be like, oh my God, right there. Oh, that feels like it goes back to my spinal cord. It really depends on the communication, which is why I was stressing that thing about the intake and the verbal communication with the client. Right there. There we go. Serratus anterior is particularly, I think, problematic. I think a lot of therapists also aren't addressing it because they're not using side lying. Do it. Guys, trust me. Outside the box. If we had to take everything we've done today and do this with like table, cream, glide, and nudity, the standard classical like Western massage with effleurage, could I have just draped the person? Is there anything we've done so far that I couldn't do? No, they're just on their side. You just have the towel or the sheet wrapped well underneath their arm and covering breast tissue. Totally fine. How's that? Right there?
Yeah.
There we go. Now to the back.
Yeah.
Now if you're good, oh man, it just feels like hanging out. Like I get paid to do this, and well. Now, normally Little Peep is playing, but we can't play Little Peep because then they're gonna flag him for a copyright violation. Not that Little Peep cares because he died that he was 21 of a fentanyl overdose, probably because he was in chronic pain. And they'll say, no, but he wasn't in any physical pain, he was in emotional and psychological pain. And I'm like, you think there's a difference? Really? People are like, man, people are really stressed because of COVID. I'm like, yeah, do you think that means they have more tension? More pain? Yes. Right there? Am I killing you? Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, this side can definitely take more than the other side.
Why can you take more?
Well, because this one's not in near as much pain as the
Yeah.
other. Yeah, it's not tender.
But still feels good.
Yes.
It's just not as like, oh, this
Yeah.
is absolutely necessary. Like I
Yeah.
have to have this. So to give her some more space, her arms down by her side, I'm gonna hook right into the deltoids, right there along the side, right into, am I in the anterior, which is the red, the middle, the green, or the posterior, which is the dark blue? Either one. From this position, you can access, if I go to the front, hey, that's more anterior. Hey, that's middle. All right, cool. More posterior. It's easy to access all of that from this position. Is that too much?
No, my arm's just like flying.
Flying around? So I'm reaching this hand through to get this elbow so she can relax and let that go because I want to do the work for her. I don't want her to hold it the whole time. Now, this was also where I changed position. Remember I showed this where I stood up. I can put a hand here and then bring the other arm out to the side here. This will allow me to really work through that if I decide that's what I want to do. I'm able to come in there, really able to work right in there into the deltoids if that's the problem. If the deltoids are problematic, I usually find that they start like pushing over here. They start telling me this is where the pain is, very, very specifically. I don't want to minimize the importance of the deltoids because I do think it's important, but I think because it's a more easily accessible superficial muscle, I think it just gets more, work than something like serratus anterior. People are a little more familiar with the deltoids, right? They're not as familiar. Serratus anterior, where the hell is that? Yeah. So as I'm coming from here, I want to go ahead and switch it up, get into infraspinatus. So I'm going to lift her arm, get that little hook around the shoulder, and then knuckles. Now, is it just flat or is it like this? Because I think either is an option. Just save your hands. This is why I use this, okay? Right along the top of the shoulder blade, shoulder blade, shoulder blade. It's called the torture muscle because it's infrared. It's below the pain on the spectrum of the infra. Since it's below the spine of the scapula, infraspinatus. It's Latin, right there.
Bring you to see DeBerry. He's gonna love it.
Oh, I loved it. I watched. I didn't watch the whole film, but I played it on a Facebook. Not White Oak. Tombstone.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember Doc Holliday?
Oh yeah.
Talking Val Kilmer when he's talking to. It starts.
I love it.
In vito veritas. He starts talking to the guy in Latin. I was like, dude.
Yes. He was one of my favorite characters.
He's like, are you retired? No, I'm in my prime. He looks dead already.
Yeah. Oh, I'm in my prime.
Now, if my hand was getting tired, if I get tired, my shoulder gets tired, I'm using my arm. What am I doing? I'm using my rotator cuff to rotate the head of the humerus, right? I'm going to take a break and just open her up a bit. Very necessary. Oh, something you can do.
I need to see that.
Open that up.
It's been so long.
Dude, when he starts flinging that cup around, I'm like, oh my. I'm like, he's going to get shot. That guy is just going to shoot him. It's like, that is such a, ugh. He's an educated man. Now I really hate him. Right there, right? Mm-hmm. Now, could you do this over the sheet? Yeah, same exact thing. It's no different, not at all. Now, I'm going to find that inferior angle of the scapula, the shoulder, and that's that line of the infraspinatus. I'm going to come in and kind of cross fiber friction to find the edge there. Oh, she'll run away. Yeah, they love this. They love me at parties. Right in there. Oh, they're like, where you work on my, sure. You work on your shoulder? Yeah, right there. And they're like, don't ever touch me again. I'm like, cool, I'm going to go drink my beer. I'm good over here. Right in there?
Yeah.
Now, what about right there?
Yeah. Oh.
Infraspinatus is a stewing cut. If I was going to start engaging in cannibalism, I got to cook this down in liquid to get it to break down, get it to be soft. Yeah, I said it. What you gonna do?
Does your name have a protector?
Ah, the fava beans. Oh, Chianti.
Yeah. There it goes. Ah.
So this, compared to that flicking, this is easy to receive.
Yeah.
The rocking is my effleurage. If it's too much pressure, It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a knee, it doesn't matter if it's a finger, it doesn't matter if it's an elbow. It's just too much. Just back off a little bit. Use something a little more broad. I invite every opportunity to just kind of hang out and relax. How's that right there? Mm-hmm. There we go. Right. In. There. Ooh. Ooh. I can feel muscle. Oh, pop, pop,
Yeah.
pop, pop. And when I pop over that, that is absolutely right at that edge right there. Right at that axillary border.
That feels amazing.
Armpit. Axillary border.
Yes.
Right in. There. She's dying. Right in. There. Right in. There. Now,
That's
gonna
it.
take a break again, gonna open her up. Because my hands will get tired just like anybody, right? You have to condition yourself. Then I want to see about the teres group. And again, teres major and minor, right there along the axillary border. So I'm going to go ahead and lift her arm up. I'm going to bring my hand in, my fingers in slowly, okay? And just see if I can grab. How's that? Mm-hmm. Cool. I'm also probably grabbing a bit of the lat here as well. How's that? Is that too much?
It's on the edge.
Now if I grind and not nice. What happens if I just hold?
That's better.
Cool. Can you, without slapping me, can you like lift your arm and kind of move it around? There you go. What happens if I come out here a little bit? A little more lateral.
Tickles.
Right there, tickles. Okay, let me hold right there.
Yeah.
So when I see when it's pointed, that's what tickles her. Right in there. If I hold, just static, doesn't tickle. Something more broad. Now, both hands are free, so I'm gonna come in. Right in there.
Damn.
Right in
Yeah.
there. Because I'm really kind of grabbing, kind of cross fiber frictioning.
Definitely that.
Right in there. Right in there. Oh. It's the body work everyone loves. This is the massage. Oh, they come to massage envy, where Robert Gardner tortures people. Low level, soft tissue manipulation of the gods. Yes, right there. Ooh.
I would say so.
So I'm gonna stop kneading and just hang out because my hands are getting tired. And my fingers are getting tired, so I'm gonna slowly back out, right? Can you lengthen your head, arm above your head? So she's opening up this spot here. I'm gonna hook. You see how I'm down towards the armpit? Is that too much right there? Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit higher towards the shoulder joint. How's that?
Feels good.
There we go. Right in there. Right in there. Now this is not serratus, okay? Serratus is on the rib cage. See it? This is getting towards the teres. A little bit higher, a little bit closer to the shoulder joint. A little bit closer there. Right at the top, right there. Right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Now if I hook in there and like kind of roll back, how's that? Then you want down or up?
Oh, up right there.
There we go. Now, can you very gently, can you kind of move the arm just a little bit? Because now it's active mobilization. Active pin and stretch. Wait, I thought we were teaching Thai massage. Active mobilization. Active pin and stretch. And I can say, oh, it's myofascial unwinding.
That feels amazing.
That feels amazing. That's what we do. And we hang out while we do it. See Mike Gordon over here, you know, doing a good job. Right there, right there, right there, right there, right. Aye. You did? Too much? Too sharp.
There's a spot that's a little sharp, but I don't want to say stop because it's like,
Right there?
yeah,
Okay. Now, down or up?
up.
Okay. Now to the back? Just right there?
Yeah,
Cool. Just hold that?
yeah.
Okay. Just making sure it's not too much.
There's a sharp spot though, right? There.
There you go. Girl power.
Oh, that is like amazing and awful.
The athletes and the people in chronic pain love this active mobilization. They love this stuff.
Yes, I do.
The average massage client, you're gonna have to soft tissue specialist them. You gotta kind of like walk them through that process. So I'm gonna bring her arm down now. I'm gonna kind of roll her back and open just because I want to give her something nice after we did that. Boom. And I go, ooh, forearm extensor. Oh, right there. Right there. Yeah. 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 Oh, that's mean. Nice. Nice. So as I roll her back and open, just to open up the chest here. Okay. Now, I want you to go ahead and sit up for me. I just want to see like how that feels. I might do this a couple times a session. This doesn't bother me, especially if I'm working on some pain stuff. If it's very, very classic, like some pain, you might want to do this just so they get a chance to move their arms around and like see how it feels. What's the difference between the left and the right side?
Left side's still tight.
Left side's still tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's much better than it was. And this side is like, oh, thank you.
But the left side is the one that's giving you more pain, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then generally speaking, like, even though you weren't having classically shoulder pain, you had more like down along the shoulder blade. Is that still there?
Barely.
Okay. And slight changes. Because do I always know exactly what muscle it is?
No.
No. And sometimes here's where it gets tricky, guys. Because we talked about referred pain, right? Okay, listen to me real quick. You remember this and this? What if they had problems with both? And now they're like, there's this sharp sensation, but it's also like here and then running down my arm. Do you see how the two trigger point pain reference patterns like overlap? Sometimes the person is having multiple muscles cause the issue. And then I, as a soft tissue people, I have to figure out like what three muscles is causing that.
Yeah.
It's like a chord instead of a single note.
Yeah.
Often when they have a problem with one muscle, the other ones around it start to try to compensate in some way, and there's this cascade of like problems they can have.
Yep.
So we're gonna do this real quick. We're gonna take just a quick break, just 2 or 3 minutes. I'm gonna put the opening screen up. I want you guys to go ahead and get some water, take a bathroom break, talk to your partner, find out how you're feeling, and then we're gonna switch, and I'm gonna go ahead and go over some of that intake stuff again, because I know that when you're receiving, it's harder to like pay attention. You know, you're not working at that time you're receiving. So we're gonna give it just a minute. You guys go ahead and we'll be back in just a bit. And we're back. Hopefully you got like just a quick break. Just wanted to give you that because I know when you're switching partners, it takes like a minute to kind of come to. So again, what I was saying the first time, we'll repeat some of that. When people come in, I have to go through an intake process. It's not just reading their paperwork. I really need to be able to make eye contact with the person, find out what's going on, talk to them. 9 times out of 10, my verbal intake is so much more in depth than what most massage therapists are familiar with. Let's say I'm looking at the paper. I scan this before they come in the room and I go, it looks like shoulder pain. And then I put this away. And I go, Andrea, what are you having problems with? It says on your paperwork that it's your shoulder. Can you tell me about that or what's going on?
Yeah, I have this pain right back here in the rhomboid.
So she'll say it's a rhomboid. The clients won't know to say that. It's on your shoulder blade?
Yes, right back in here.
Cool. Is it like lower or is it like pretty much right there?
It's usually right in there, but it kind of, yeah, right all in there.
So is it almost like a little oval kind of right here? Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason I know it's this kind of oval shape right here is that is a pretty classic anterior scalene trigger point referred pain pattern, okay? That's very, very common. I used to think, just like most therapists, oh, she's having problems with the rhomboids. I need to put her face down in the face rest and strip out the paraspinals. But I don't think that way anymore because the pattern recognition, look at it so far. What did I say? Anterior scalene, infraspinatus. Those are two different things. Then she's like, hey, this thing on the back of my shoulder blade, this little circular, oh, the thing over here, oh, it's like a little oval that runs up and down. I'm like, infraspinatus. Anterior scalene. But the reason I know that is because having done it for years and years and years where I'm working on people, you start to develop that pattern recognition. It's not reasonable for me to expect you to know that. That's why I'm here teaching, right? Like I'm trying to help you pick up these patterns faster than it was for me, because I had to I had to do a lot of work working on people to be able to figure out what the issues were. They thought it was magic when I could help them very rapidly. But it came out of the conversation. If I just said, oh, you got shoulder pain? Okay, come on in. Just take off your clothes, lay down face first in the face rest. I'm going to be back in a minute. Now, that's what most people think a massage is. When I talk to her, I go, listen, so it's always, it's on the left side.
Yes.
And then it's like this, almost like a oval.
Yes.
So it's kind of like in between the shoulder blade and your spine.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not like up here, it's not back here, it's just down here.
Yep.
Okay. So I got that information from her. I would go, hey, is there anything else that's bothering you? Does anything else cause pain?
Not really, no.
Not really?
Not right now.
Okay.
Uh-uh.
And then when you work out, does anything bother you while you're working out? Because I know you exercise and do stuff.
Everything hurts when I'm working.
Everything. Okay. And that's just because she's
erector.
that's just because she's using her body, right? But what I would do is let's say the verbal portion of the intake was going to continue going. I would do this all the time. I worked at a chiropractor's office. I had it 30 minutes or an hour. 30 minutes or an hour. 30 minutes or an hour. I was a mechanic. 30 minutes or an hour. I'd go, listen, we don't have much time. Go ahead and slide off your shoes.
Okay.
I want you to lay down on the table just like you are on your side. And then they'll pretty much know to put their head on the pillow, right? Because that's what they do when they sleep. And then she already knew how to bolster herself. Normally I'd have to roll this guy up and put her in position. The difference is that verbal intake would now just continue. And what that means is I would just keep talking to her and saying, listen, so you're laying on the right side. You mean to work on this one first?
Sure.
Okay. Because and the reason I ask, how often do I confuse left and right? All the time. It's like the bane of a body worker or yoga teacher's existence. It's like, put your right leg, and they're like, oh wait, no, left leg. Yeah. So I just want to make sure, because if I work on the wrong side, how many of you done this? Spend 30 minutes and they're like, it's on the other side. Because we just have stuff going on, or whatever. So the deal is, do you want me to work on this one first?
Yeah.
Okay. What I would do is continue the verbal part of the intake here. And go, listen, are you sure, like, do you have no other issues? Like, I mean, you're working out, you're doing pretty heavy, stuff. Is there anything else that bothers you?
Oh, my neck is always bothering me.
Oh, okay. So like the back of the neck?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
It's always like that junction?
Yep.
Okay. So kind of like the junction between your neck and your upper back?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, and I dug that out of her just in conversation. What I would likely do as I continue that verbal intake is I'm going to start working on her, which means I'm going to put her on her side, and I'm going to come in and start to work on that. Do, 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 do. So she told me, oh man, this junction, this thing up here, this bothers me. So I want to go into that because I know this. The clients probably wouldn't know this. How often are clients put on their side?
Hardly ever.
And put on their side clothed?
Never.
Just those two things are so different. It completely, like, listen guys, this lady came in for a massage. Does she feel like she got shortchanged because she didn't get her massage? No, she actually feels like, whoa, this is kind of different. Because I do, as a soft tissue specialist, do stuff a little bit different. If I have them, I worked at a chiropractor's office, hey, take off your shoes, lay down the table like you are, and they started like, well, but I came in for a massage. Listen, this is what I would say. This is me. I work on chronic pain. I knew what I did at that office. All the other therapists and the chiropractors started referring people to me to chronic pain because the other massage therapists just wanted to clock in, do a massage, go home. And you roll your eyes.
Yes.
But how did I make my money? Fixing stuff. And I would almost aggressively sometimes go, listen, do you want a massage or do you want to get better? Whoa, I want to get better. I'm like, cool, take off your shoes, lay down on the table. I'm going to start working on you. Trust me, this stuff is great. I'm good at what I do. I've been doing this for a long time. I help people with pain and mobility. do you see how it's like, even though the context and the culture was massage, we sort of changed it. It was clothes on. It was more like medical, soft tissue verbiage, a little bit. Now, did I just immediately go, oh yeah, you're having problems with your traps? You can see right here on my map right here, that is probably, yeah, it's probably your serratus anterior. And you're already laughing at me because because it's dry, right? Because they don't have any connection to what the muscle is.
Yeah,
After I work on it, then if we found out that it was serratus anterior, we work on it, and then I bring you up and go, listen, this is serratus anterior. It's just a muscle like along your rib cage that pulls your shoulder blade forward. You're probably doing stuff in CrossFit that like shortens this muscle. I'm just coming in and trying to take that muscle and lengthen it. And they go, oh, wow. Now, all I did was just explain a little bit of the process. Now, the mechanic, if I bring my car in, I don't know about my car. I mean, I've learned a little bit more because I'm 44 now.
Yeah.
But the car doesn't work, and then the guy goes, hey man, come look, listen, there's a ball bearing. Do you see this? Do you see those ball bearings there? Look, there's one here where the metal is like warped so that ball can't roll through. It's like that's the only problem with this thing. We're gonna have to replace this, but now, how do I feel about his mechanic work?
That he knows what he's talking about and he's not going to shiest you.
Yep, he's not going to shiest me.
Yeah.
I think it's Yiddish, by the way.
Sorry.
It came up, no, shyster. No, it came up with a client last night. We were talking about it. I think it's Yiddish. I have to look it up and find out. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's because of the verbiage. So the deal is, I feel like I trust him more. You can engender more trust in the client because of the way you connect with them and because you do stuff like this. Because you say, listen, this is serratus anterior. Serratus, like a serrated knife, is just talking about the little serrated ridges of like where it interdigitates with, I think, one of the abdominal muscles, like lateral obliques or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the deal is, you sound like a medical professional because you used one word, and you used like a complex word. It's like, oh, it's these ball bearings. I'm like, I don't know what a ball bearing is.
Yeah.
But he shows me, I'm like, oh, it's just, one of these ball bearings warped, or the metal around it housing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what he has to replace. Now I trust him.
Yeah.
Because he knew what it was. He was able to say what it was. And typically, does the mechanic, they try, this is the rebooking thing, right? Does the mechanic want to tell me what he think it is first and then go look at the car? No. He's like, based on what you just described to me, I think it might be this.
No, they don't
you ever listen?
waste their time
You ever
with that.
you ever listen to Click and Clack, the Tackert brothers on Car Talk?
No.
Oh, there's a fun one, boy. So
Yeah.
they were both physics graduates, but they were amazing mechanics. People would call into their show and describe what the car was doing. They'd tell them what's wrong with it over the radio.
Wow.
And they were right all the time because they're masterful mechanics.
Yeah.
The difference is when he tells me what he thinks it might be, like he's building that rebooking in.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Misunderstood.
yeah. No, it's fine. So the thing is, like, I'm just saying, listen, I think it might be your serratus, it might be your anterior scalene, it might be this or that. And it doesn't necessarily mean anything to the client coming in because they don't have our frame of reference. But if I just reassure them, make eye contact with them, it creates a good situation for us to get started. And I go, cool, now I think that's what it might be, but let me take a look. Because that's where the expertise as a mechanic comes in. So I'm gonna come in. Can you scoot forward just a little bit for me? You got a little bit of room? There we go. So I'm gonna sit right at her sacrum. I'm gonna bring my leg up. I'm almost putting my sacrum right at her sacrum. That works better for me space-wise. And then I'm gonna grab back here and you go, listen, this stuff up in here is what's tight.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and touched this. I went like, hey, this right here is what's bothering you? Cool, how does it feel when I lengthen that?
Oh, it feels so good.
There we go. And that's what I want to give the client. I want them to feel tended to, taken care of. They're with an expert, soft tissue pain specialist. I'm going to hook around the shoulder blade. There we go. Nice, my shoulder feels better.
I felt that.
clunk.
Uh-huh.
Right in there.
Yeah.
Right along the shoulder blade.
Yep. Yeah.
Now straight down towards the sacrum or back and over.
Straight down to the sacrum.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now, see, here's the thing. I could have just kept doing this back and over, back and over, back and over. All I did was go, hey, do you like this or this better? Two different movements. One is back and over this way. One is like down towards the sacrum. And she's like, ooh, that one. That communication makes a huge difference in our clinical outcomes. Here's what clients would tell me. They're like, I've never had a massage therapist communicate with me before. I've never had a massage therapist like educate me before because they showed me a muscle. Wow. Think about how low the standards are for client care when people say that to me.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't want you to just deliver a service. I want you to solve a problem. Right in there?
Mm-hmm.
Now if I do that and then give you a little to the back, how's that?
Yeah.
There we go. Kind of a mixture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like down first and then back and over.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah, it really opens up that like neck area that we're having issues with. Yep.
Now who watching this on YouTube later down the road, I clip this, how many of them think I'm working on the neck when I do this?
None of them.
What do they think I'm doing?
I don't know what they think you're doing. How moving and just working on where
They
your
always
hands are.
think I'm working where my hands are. Picking up her body and using movement to find the stuff that's, ooh, that's not moving, it's stuck. There's a limited mobility right there. Because I'm holding this, I'm using her shoulder blade as a handle to move the thoracic and upper thoracic and lower cervical spine. I mean, it's lifting her head off the pillow. Just like that, right? Now, once I've done that to open it up, she feels heard. She's like, wow, he actually worked on the thing I was having a problem with. Then I'm gonna slowly shift it. We're gonna go into serratus anterior, right underneath the arm, right along the rib cage. I'm gonna go ahead and lift up her arm, and then I'm gonna come in with a big, broad forearm, right down here. Now, am I straight on the ulna?
No.
Ow. Am I broad? Yeah, a little more broad muscle right there. How's that?
Mm-hmm. That feels great.
Cool. A little up and down right there.
Yeah.
There we go. That mechanic thing. I've noticed over the years, there's a different energy signature when I work with women, where it's a little more, I guess, nurturing in some ways. It can be a little more soft. With guys, especially initially, how do guys feel about coming to get body work from a guy?
I hear
CrossFitters.
I hear they're not too comfortable with that.
Why?
It's just for lots of reasons. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they have cultural bias.
Yeah,
Like they
that's
don't,
right.
yeah. So regardless of how they're going to interact, the Boulder bro comes in, he's come in to see me. 9 times out of 10, he's coming to me because they've got a pain problem, 1. So a lot of that stuff goes out the window when they're in enough pain. 2, it's like when I was at a chiropractor's office, I go, hey, George, what's going on? And he's like, man, I got this thing in my arm. And I'm like, where? And then the whole conversation is a fist bump. Yo, man, listen, I'm going to help you with mobility. I'm going to help you get you back to your clean and jerk, get you to performing the way you want in CrossFit. Listen, is it right in there? It's very mechanical. It's to get him over the hump relation to like gender norms or something. Like people are weird. I mean, I've done what I've done for so long. Like I've had guys at a party like, do you work on guys? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, isn't that like weird? And I'm like, bro, I worked on my grandma when she was alive.
Yeah.
Like, it's bodies.
Yeah.
But they don't have a context for it, just like George, the CrossFitter. I'm like, I'm a mechanic. That's how I interact. Yo, George, we're going to get in there, fist bump. Listen, man, we're going to take care of your shoulder. We're going to make sure your clean and jerk is doing what it's supposed to do. It's going to help with your performance. Is that what George wants? Or does George just want a massage?
No. George wants stuff fixed.
George wants stuff fixed.
Yarsh.
And that's where you've got to choose who you want to work on. I don't care. See, I'm doing this. You see this rapid? If you're like, man, this just, I don't know, I like what you do, Robert, but I need to make it my own style. And you want to go this fast. Now, which is more effective?
They're both effective.
Depending on the client, depending on the needs, and depending on the context. And that's the thing. Like, do I'm capable of using great deep compression. Do I use it on every client? No, because it's not necessary. It's not called for. If George is 300 pounds and, you know, a strapping guy, I'm going to use a little more on him. But I need to do so while saving my body's own integrity. And this is key to me. We are the soft tissue specialists. We have to teach the customers what is possible. We are the soft tissue specialists. We have to teach them what our work can be. I think even beyond massage. I don't even like the word massage sometimes, because massage means table, cream, glide, and nudity. Now, I'm still on a table because the first class is table-based. How much cream, glide, and nudity do I use all the time? Very little, which is where therapists say, I don't understand, this isn't massage. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's debatable. But it helps people with pain and they pay me. How's that right there? So I'm shearing to the back. Like I've grabbed and leaned forward. You can see the angle from my elbow to my wrist. Where I'm leaning forward right there. Oh, right there, right there. Are you dead? How you doing? Is it good? Right there. Man, I'm gonna go just a little bit higher. Right in there. There we go. And I changed my body position. I shifted just a little bit because I made my low back feel a little better. How's that?
Yeah.
There we go. Right in there. Now if I hook and then slide to the back.
Yeah, that's definitely what it needs.
There we go.
Oh yeah, right.
Now I'm gonna hang out right there without slapping me. What happens if you lift your arm and like start to move it around?
Oh yeah.
There we go. There we go. Active myofascial soft tissue work. They're like, oh my God, that's amazing. Solve a problem. If you want to work on relaxation clients, you got to change the verbiage of your stuff to be able to work on people who want to relax. If you're working on pain or mobility, totally different language, right? Do I ever, I think my work is relaxing. Do you find it relaxing?
I do most of the time.
Okay. Do I ever sell it as relaxing?
No.
And I've had some people debate that. They're like, Robert, you never focus on the fact that it's relaxing. Why? And I'm like, because I work on pain relief and mobility.
Relaxing is just a nice, like, additional thing.
Well, here's the difference. If I'm going to go out into a market and go, relaxation, everybody else is already serving that market.
I see. Sorry, am I messing with your thing again?
Oh, no, I just moved it.
Oh.
You're going to go press buttons and mess up my cameras, and then I'm going to have to press buttons to undo the button pressing you did.
Sure.
How's that?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
And this is getting closer to teres, but I still think this is just a little bit more serratus. Because of the way she moved, we wound up getting just a little bit closer to serratus. I'm sorry, into the teres group from the serratus. We started off up here, but she started like moving around.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. But it's also to describe like what they are seeing on camera as we're going. Because we started in one spot and it's evolved just a little bit. Right there? There we go. Now, what if I had man, my arm, it gets tired. Okay, hold on. So I'm gonna switch real quick, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here. How's that?
Holy Moses.
No, is that too sharp?
God.
Is that too
It's
sharp?
on the edge.
Okay, now because I've got a free hand over here, I'm gonna use a big broad forearm on the gluteals. How's that? Because now I've got a place to put that arm. How's that right there? That's right at the scapular border. Right up there. How's that? Too much?
No.
Good?
Mm-hmm.
Death?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good, good, nice. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Right in there, right in there, right in there. Oh, yes, it's a pain and an anguish and suffering. You got to entertain yourself while you work. That's what I say. So she set her arm up above her head. I'm going to go back, right? Because I'm using my arms. I'm doing stuff with my rotator cuff to stabilize the head of my humerus. I'm going to bring her arm back down, and I'm going to go right back to what we started with. How's that?
Yes.
Because this, to me, the mobilization or rocking is very relaxing. Now, could I just take her into an extreme, pull her open, and just hold her here? So why do I rock in and out?
My body takes it better.
That's my sense of it organically. She said the body takes it better. Why is it when I do repeated passes, it's like they progressively open and progressively relax?
Because your muscles are like, oh, this is what we're doing. It's almost like a, I don't know.
It's safe.
Yeah.
Because your muscles are like, wait, they're going to injure us. But then they're like, oh, no, that was okay, that was good. Then they do a second pass, a little, oh, wow, that was actually kind of nice. And then you go third, and you're like, oh, wow, it feels really good to let go. Right? Right in there. Oh, she's dead.
I am.
Totally dead.
Cheers.
Totally dead. Totally dead. Plop. Then slowly want to go into Infraspinatus. Big, broad, right on top of the shoulder blade. Right on top there. What are the knuckles that feel good to you? Is it flat or is it this? Flat or this? Save your fingers. Because the infraspinatus, right on top of that shoulder blade. Right on top. Right on top. Right in there. Right in there. Now, it went from flat, in my case, now I'm going to go a little sharper. Woof. And for her, this is the second time I've worked on her, right? I can feel it go a little deeper this time. It's a little more specific, a little more focused. Very big intake. Pain level. 10's hospital, 0's no pain. She came in at a 2. What's she gonna feel like when I am done? Hopefully a 0, hopefully. 2 points. 2 points will make me happy. When it goes beyond that, that's where it gets stupendous, by the way. That'll get you some repeat clients. Those people are like, oh, you saved my life. Right in there. Now, back to the infraspinatus. Right in there, right in there. And in her case, I want to hook right into. I'm going to try to grab. There we go. Now, I can knead. And I can knead a little bit more. Than she could receive this a little better than she could the first time. How's that right there? Okay. If I hold right there, can you move without slapping me? There you go. Teres, right? Right in there. She's doing some crazy, crazy movements right there. So because my other hand is free, I'm going to change my position just a little bit. I want to see if I can grab. I'm also getting a big, I can use my thumbs right there to kill her. She's trying to run away. She used her leg. You can see that. How's that?
It sounded like a pterodactyl.
Now, cross fiber, or is it just when I hold?
Holding.
Okay. And I'm actually putting thumb over thumb. I'm going to take just 1 second so I can show this. So I'm actually taking my thumb, and like one thumb wasn't enough. It was like, I'm using my hand. I put my other thumb on top to kind of reinforce it to get a little more depth. Right in there. How's that?
Yes.
There we go.
That's it.
Right in there. How's that? There we go. How's the rocking with it?
Oh, it makes it better.
So do you see that? Like, was it necessarily better for me if I wasn't rocking?
No.
No. But when I opened up the space for that verbal communication, it created a very different sensation in the session with her, because I was able to work on this teres major and teres minor.
Wow, right there.
Now I'm gonna switch thumbs. How's that?
That is amazing.
Are you getting any referred pain from that?
No, it's just very
Just tender.
localized.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So my fingers start to get tired. I'm gonna back off of my fingers, and then I want to see if I bring her arm up and over, is that comfortable? Okay. Because I want to hook almost right at the shoulder joint. Okay. Right there. What if I'm right there? How's that?
Yes.
Is that too much?
No.
Okay. Now I am more so going with the fibers of teres major and minor, where she's got her arm up above her head. So it's lengthened that tissue first before I put pressure into it. Kneading through. Right there. Right there. Right there. And to the back. There we go. This class in particular, remember we talked about the second class will be mat mirror. There's not a huge difference in this work on a mat or on a table. It's relatively similar. I think it's more fun on a mat because the person, like, remember how to have to scoot over, and you don't have to do as much of that on the mat. They're not afraid they're going to fall off the table, but it's relatively similar. Also, if you're just like, man, I don't want to work on a mat. Okay, cool. We're going to help you replicate the stuff as easy as we can on the table for all 3 classes. But I also want you to sample the mat work so you understand some of the differences in the tools and options that it allows you. How's that right there?
Holy shit.
Is that too sharp?
No.
There's a little more ulna. It was a little more bone and less muscle. Right there. Right there. Ooh. 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 Right in there. Right in there. Right in. Oh, oh, oh. And she's had her arm above her head. I've been putting pressure on that shoulder joint, putting pressure on the shoulder girdle. I want to take that off and roll her back and down, back and over. I want to move that stuff around, create a little bit more space. She's dead.
Yes, I am.
We killed her.
Yes.
Cool. Do you want to flip to the other side? She's like,
Yes.
I'll try if I don't fall off the table.
It's pretty much how I get out of my bed.
There you go.
Just roll off.
And, you know, feel free. I think that you guys can pretty much repeat it from side to side. Meaning if they have more problems with the right side, you don't want to switch or something, totally fine. Like you work on the stuff that you think is most necessary for your partner, as long as you can relatively follow along and go through some of the same stuff. Also, you know, we're going to repeat this stuff. You know, sometimes people get a little nervous because like they can't remember serratus, so they can't remember anterior scalene. And it's like, you don't have to. The reason I put it on the screen is because it refreshes my memory as much as it does for you guys. So I want you to be able to find stuff that you can access and work on. You know, we get to review together, working on shoulder girdle stuff, rotator cuff pain. How's that? He's like, I'm dead.
Yes.
I'm dead.
I am. That feels so amazing compared to how it did whenever we first started.
So is it the fingers under the shoulder blade?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now I'm holding these fingers under the shoulder blade stable. I'm just rocking her onto my fingers, by the way. And it does feel like this is letting go. It's opening up more than it did the first time. I'm gonna move a little higher. How's that?
Yeah.
There we go. Right into there. How's that? And a little bit lower. I mean, a little bit higher, I should say.
Yeah.
I think lower and higher are apparently the same thing.
Uh-huh.
Like, so why say that, Robert? Why say lower when you went higher? You liar.
Liar.
Right there.
Is it opposite day? Just gonna holy shit.
I'm hooking 2 fingers
Oh my god.
right into there.
Whoa.
Right into there.
What the fuck did you just find?
Right in there.
Oh,
Right in there.
that's just fucking awful.
Right in there.
Ugh.
I'm gonna back off for a second. My hands are getting tired. My fingers.
I think it just popped.
So you said something popped, something let go. Where did it feel like it was?
Like up in there almost. Like maybe the clavicle?
It might be. Yeah, there's tons of mobilization, right? Because you got the collarbone in front, shoulder girdle, but a lot of times people will have little spontaneous cavitations along their upper thoracic or cervical spine. When I'm pulling them over like this, how many people do I lift and their neck just goes click, and they're like, oh wow, that feels great, and it's like, I wasn't doing a rapid velocity thrust by any means. It's just like mobilizing, and when muscle lets go, what happens? You have spontaneous cavitation. Now, I could keep working my thumb in there. I could keep, it's too much on my hands. I've got other tools to be able to access stuff. I still use my fingers, especially like I'm trying to feel, oh, how is it in there? Like, you know, but if I wanted to do deep, deep, deep compression, I'll change their position and put an elbow in there. Tons of options that we're gonna go over. Right here, right in here. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
that's it.
oh. Infraspinatus, oh, you horrible, horrible beast. Right in there. Oh. Flat knuckles or pointed? Flat knuckles or pointed? You tell me. What feels best? It's like, I'm dead. I'm dead. Now, I kind of just jumped into this, right? And this is real common for me. Even though I'm kind of giving you a general sequence, could you put stuff in reverse? Did I work on this side this time? Did I work the serratus? No, I kind of just jumped into this, right? But it's also because I know internally that I've already worked on this on her. So I'm going to go back to the beginning, which is it, right? It's a serratus out there. There you go. Another thing about having really long sessions, like 2-3 hours, is you put yourself in a position where you can work on the rotator cuff for 45 minutes, go off and work on other stuff. Then come back and work on the rotator cuff again for another 45 minutes, and then back off. People sometimes tell me they're amazed that I can do work that's so deep, but they're not sore after. In other words, it feels so deep. It wasn't that I used more pounds per square inch. Does it make sense? Yeah. Right. In. There. And. Is. What do you think? To the back?
For sure.
Right there?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ooh. You dying? Just slow.
Yes.
The slow, slow death.
That sounded like one of the narrators from my Tom Clancy books. The slow, slow death.
You like Tom Clancy?
I do.
Nice. If I hook over here, give you a little bit more pressure, how's that?
Harsh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that the spy sort of stuff that you like?
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit higher.
Yeah.
There we go. The up and down still feels good?
Yeah.
Like right along. When I'm going up and down, I am cross fiber frictioning. Wait, wrong muscle. Where are you at? There we go. Cross fiber frictioning. Because I'm going up and down, like towards the armpit and then down towards the hips. I'm cross fiber frictioning with a big broad tool right through serratus anterior, right over to the back there. Ooh, a little bit more to the posterior, right in there.
Oh, jeez.
Oh yeah, it's like Fargo. Oh yeah. Right there? Yes?
Yes.
Again, I don't think the deltoids, I'm not saying they're not problematic in some people, especially people who have like very specific jobs, or they're doing something that's repetitive, they're hanging sheetrock, or you know, engaging in CrossFit, or doing certain things that are causing problems with their deltoids. But I think the deltoids are seen first just because they're so superficial. I'm going to come to the outside here before I get into the anterior delt, the middle delt, and the posterior, which is the dark blue. People have problems with these, but I think that they're a little more superficial. They're addressed more. Plus, if somebody's having a problem with their deltoid, they can reach their hand over and kind of press on their own deltoid. Very few people are working on their own serratus anterior. It's one of those hidden muscles. Same things that happens with infraspinatus. Not a lot of people reaching back behind to work on the posterior side of their shoulder blade. And what do you think, to the back? Is it more like anterior?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm hooking in the front, you can see because of the angle, and then I'm rolling it back. Right there. And then what do you think about the up and down?
That was good.
Does the rocking better? So one of the things that happens is, like, I'm talking about the deltoids, right? But what happens to her shoulder joint, shoulder blade, and then her thoracic and cervical paraspinals? Rocking. Just rocking. Rocking that stuff open. Rocking the stuff open. Then, for me to back off, just give it a break for a second. I'm going to reach under, go right back to what we started with. And then we already did a little bit, but I'll go back into it again, talking about the infraspinatus. Little finger pressure here now, because I want to see kind of what damage we did. Oof. Is it too much elbow over here, by the way?
No, not at all.
Because I felt myself leaning in for a second,
no,
and I had to be a little more
doesn't
aware.
hurt at all.
Okay.
It's all up in there. It's like good. Ooh.
Right in there. Right in there. Right in there. Cross fiber. It's popping over the edge. Ooh.
That's just.
Ooh. Ooh. So like I feel major density right there. I can feel it. I use a finger right there, just a single, to be able to point it out. But I'm going to hook my knuckles right in that, because there was no way with my fingers that was going to let go. Like that was heavy duty, like tension right there. Ooh. Too much? Tender? Ooh.
No, it feels good. It hurt at first, but now I'm like, oh, yes.
The edge. I don't think it's good to move too fast and be too sharp. It's almost like how slow can you go? If I can do it slowly, why not? Now, if I only got 30 minutes, well, I got to hurry up.
Yeah.
But you got 3 hours. So the size of my canvas changes the art. If I get a little miniature, I mean, it's great art, but it's like a little miniature. It's different than having a big canvas. 3 hours is a big canvas. Give my hands a break. Just back off for a minute. Give her some space. Just feels nice. If you go back and forth between intense and then nice mobilization. Intense and nice mobilization, like the ocean waves, that has a really good flow to it. Now, when I want to get up into the teres group, I'm going to lift her up. I'm going to come in and see if I can hook. What do you think about right there? Okay. Can you gently kind of move your arm around? Feels good? Okay. Want a little bit more?
Yeah.
And you see how, like, I introduced it? Like, I don't have to do that, but it's like, say, what, a little bit more? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm going to hook the other hand. How's that?
Shit.
Too much?
Not yet.
Okay, how's that?
Oh, right there. Yeah.
There you go. Now, one of the things I do is when I see how she's using her arm, do you see how it's different on the left side than it was on the right? And in my head, I'm going through my mental Rolodex going, what is that? Is that part of her infraspinatus? Or is that a little bit of like her latissimus dorsi? Oh, is that a little bit of her teres major or minor? Or I'm trying to figure out what soft tissue might be involved in that. And I'm not gonna be able to hold this much longer with my hands. I'm gonna slowly let go because my thumbs will just give out. It'd just be too much. If I come in with a forearm and an elbow here, how's that?
Good.
And I scooted my body forward because I wanted to stack a little bit of weight. If I was reaching too far forward, it would be more strain on me. How's that?
Amazing.
Amazing. Okay, a little bit lower. There we go. Now when I hook there, kind of grab to the back.
Oh, yeah.
Now I kind of feel like I'm grabbing a mix between Serratus and between the teres group. I kind of feel like I'm in the middle of those two, right here. Shoof. A state of shoof has been declared. Shoof.
Shoof is right.
Right in there. Right in there. Right in there. Ooh. That was another thing about this class, was trying to figure out, okay, so I need to do rotator cuff. Rotator cuff is not, In other words, if you look at the muscles that are classically considered part of the rotator cuff, is that anterior scalene or the scalenes group? No. But then it's like, but the scalenes refer stuff into the shoulder related to shoulder pain. So it was like, okay, rotator cuff and shoulder pain. So you deal with the rotator cuff, but you're also dealing with some of the other externalities, some of the other muscles people might be having problems with if they're having shoulder pain. So it's like based on problem, solution. What's the problem? Shoulder pain. The clients don't even know, it's my rotary cup. You hear that?
I have not heard that.
Yeah, they hear somebody say rotator cuff and they thought it was rotary cup or something. And it's like, I don't tease that. You know, I think it's good that they're trying to learn anything.
Yeah.
It's just like if people put a gun to my head and go, list the muscles in the rotator cuff. I'm like, ooh, okay, is supraspinatus still considered part of the rotator cuff?
Yeah.
You know, subscap, teres major minor, infraspinatus. You know, it's like teres major and minor.
You have a tear in your rotator cuff. Which muscle?
Right there. Now, that happens all the time. Do people know what muscle it is?
Nope.
No. Very, very, very rarely.
Not at all.
Right there?
Yeah.
Am I killing you?
No.
Are you dead?
Yeah.
Oh.
Dying, dead.
The rocking's better?
Oh, it's all amazing.
There we go. There we go. Right in there. Right in there. Right in there. Right. Ooh. Ooh. Now, you want to go just a little bit higher?
Yeah.
There we go. Now, feel the tissue. Normally, when we work, we're going to work on stuff that feels tight, dense, tense, and restricted. Clients will always ask me, like, how can you tell? And I'm like, I'm a butcher.
Yep.
I work with steaks
the
all
difference.
day long.
Exactly.
And I know texture because you work with it every day. You get a
Exactly.
sense for a feel.
That's right.
Now, right in there,
Is it morbid that I used to be a chef? And
To the
so
back.
That also helps.
so that trick with the thumb, you ever seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Like 1, 2.
Yeah. That's true.
Oh, that's right. So like 1, like the texture there, the texture there, the texture there, and the 4 was well
Yeah.
done. Like the 4 is where you kick the guy out of the restaurant.
Yep, that's
You're like,
right.
you ain't get a well done
the
steak.
fuck
Get out of here.
Find yourself another job. Don't do anything with meat. Jeez.
Right there,
Yeah.
and to the back.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
If you want to go run some meat, go work at a fast food restaurant.
We got real biased real fast over here, and
Sorry.
it was over food.
Don't even get me started.
Right there. There we go. Now you see how the arm kind of got involved? This is what I'm saying about that rocking. That rocking accesses all those muscles around the shoulder joint because it's engaging movement. Ooh. Right in there. And again, take her arm back down, put her back at neutral, roll her back and open. I don't want to keep her arm up like that forever. It'll start to almost jam the shoulder joint. And from here, I want you to go ahead and slowly, you can just take your time. I want you to sit up for me. I just want to see how you feel.
Amazing.
So you had more issues with that spot around the shoulder blade on the left side. There was a little oval.
Yeah.
What do you feel right now?
It's barely there.
Barely there, okay.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when I'm pulling your shoulder blade back and open, it's probably grabbing a portion of that and the scalenes, especially on that left side where it rotates. It's probably when I'm pulling your shoulder blade down, it's probably accessing that just a little bit. You and I know that it's probably some scalene stuff.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, they wouldn't know what that is like initially.
Yeah.
So when I'm working on you, that probably address some of it. Then like, what do you feel through the upper back?
It feels so relaxed, like it's able to drop down and come out of my ears.
That pulling you back and open, every class. Guys, people are like, I need stuff for the upper back. Listen, that one move where you grab the shoulder blade and pull the shoulder blade back and down, that stuff, I don't remember the last session I didn't use that. Like it's a constant. It is one of the most potent moves for like upper back and neck stuff. Then shoulder pain, anything?
No.
How do your shoulders feel?
They feel amazing. I would say we're probably at a 0.25.
Okay, so almost that 2-point reduction.
Yeah.
But you didn't even start that high. You started at 2.
Yeah.
So the
Because
thing
we've
is,
been fighting with this.
2-point reduction on a pain scale, this is what the verbiage would sound like. I'd go, listen, Andrea, I'd make eye contact. Listen, I had a great time working with you today. I'm really happy that you had just about that 2-point reduction on a pain scale. Listen, you're an athlete, you're a CrossFitter, you're working with your body. There's stuff that's gonna come up all the time. If we can do this one time, I think you said sometimes it spikes to a 6. I think because of the way it dropped, my assumption is it's just soft tissue.
Yeah.
It's something we can do maintenance on. I would love to see you, and here's where I'm gonna roll through my mental Rolodex. One, I know that you work out constantly. Is CrossFit cheap or expensive?
It's expensive.
She can afford body work. That's my first thought. And then I go, listen, you need regular maintenance.
Yeah.
I can do that 2-point reduction all the time. Probably some more. That 6 probably, I don't think will come back unless you had some sort of specific injury. I would love to see you once every 2 weeks for like a 3-hour session. And I'm walking her towards the mat too, by the way.
Yeah.
So let's say she did this on a table. I'd say, listen, did you like what we did today?
Yeah.
Cool. Listen, next time you come in, I want you to wear some clothes like this. I'm going to work on a mat.
Okay.
It gives me even more tools.
Yeah.
I can do even more. The compressions can be deeper.
Wow.
And for them, it's selling to what they want. They want something that's more effective. Do they care? Like, hey, Andrea, I just want to do the kind of work. It's much easier on my body.
They don't care about that.
Well, I mean, they don't want me to work hard
Yeah.
necessarily, but it's like they just want what's effective.
Yeah.
So I walk her
They
towards
all-
the mat and I walk her towards longer sessions. If she's at all hesitant, in my case, I might do something like this. Listen, I'm charging $100 an hour, but I'd be more than happy to give you a discount on a longer mat session.
Okay.
And I go,
Discount?
cool,
Sure.
I'll charge you $160 for 2 hours. How's that?
Okay.
Great. I'll see you in 2 weeks. I'm going to go ahead and mark it. Do you want to see it at the same day and time?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. I'm going to try, if I can, to do the rebook immediately. While they're still feeling good, they've realized the value and benefit of what we did. I sit down and go over the fact that it was their infraspinatus. I talk about the muscles in their teres group that they're having problems with. And maybe I say, hey, listen, we didn't get a chance to get into your scalenes today, but I think next week I want to do that.
Okay.
So what I did was a very broad range like rebook from the moment she came in till the end. Because she doesn't really care what I do until she knows what we can do. Because they're not the experts. They don't know body work
Yeah.
half the time.
Yep.
How often do you get clients who really know body work? They're connoisseurs.
I probably get more than the average therapist because I work on athletes.
Yep.
But
'Cause
even
they're looking.
then, not all my athletes know everything there is to know.
And at this point, you're on a mat doing suspension. Has anybody ever had that?
No.
What do they think when you give it to them?
They think it's amazing.
Yeah.
They're like, what is this?
And the thing is,
They
we
think I'm
have to
wrong.
educate them about what's possible. The other point is, I could say, listen, you do CrossFit. Are other people at the gym having same problems with like their shoulders? Cool. Listen, I'm gonna give you a small stack of cards. I'll give you 2 or 3 cards with like a 20% off coupon code. I'd like to do them or work with them on that same 2-hour session for like $160. Would you mind giving some of these to your friends and colleagues at CrossFit? Because they'll believe what she says. They're not interested in me making sales.
Yeah.
I go, hey Andrew, you want to give me some money? And it's like, that's like, hey man, what are you?
Yeah.
But it's received very differently when you're doing the sale for me.
Yeah.
So the whole issue is the rebooking starts at the beginning You do the body work, you do the education, and you bring them back to the rebook. What if she says, listen, I can't afford it? This is me, I work in private practice. I'd go, listen, I understand right now we're in COVID, everybody's having trying times. What can you afford? Sometimes I'll just throw it open. Now, if I was gonna charge 160 and she's like, I could do 140, what do I care about that $20?
Exactly. That's a client you can have for life.
But it's me, and the thing is, it's not because I always like want to work on people who are discount shoppers.
No.
Like you came to me and tried to haggle with me. No.
First.
But the difference is when you say you're in financial need, that's a little different, and we're during COVID. You get to make choice by choice options, choices. You get to make a judgment call based on the client that you're working with and what you think is going to work best for them. But I think that rebooking and that part of the verbal component, okay?
Yeah.
I might just do that for 5 minutes, but once I start, I go, listen, I don't want to take up more time. I want to get to the body work, but we'll keep talking. Just take off your shoes, lay down on the table just like you are. I want to move you around to see where we're going to work. That right there allows me, do I spend money on oils?
No.
Do I spend excess money on sheets?
No.
Do I know how to fold a fitted sheet?
Yes.
No.
No, wait, fitted sheet. No.
Not me. Do I own fitted sheets for my table?
No.
No. Do I own a table?
You don't know.
No, I had to borrow one. See, that's the thing. It completely changes the nature of the sessions. A lot of people would tell me they can't do a 3-hour table session, but for Matt, they're like, Robert, it's easy. And I'm like, yes, it is. If you have any questions for me between now and then, feel free to text me. This video is available inside Teachable. You might be watching it right now where I embedded it, or you can always come back to this link on YouTube and be able to watch it on YouTube. If you need anything from me, feel free to text me or message me on Facebook. I'll be happy to chat with you. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down here in a minute. Thank you guys so much for attending and working with me. I really appreciate it. I had a great time working on the rotator cuff, and we're going to pick this up next week. If you don't have a mat, get some blankets or comforters and put them down on the ground. It's going to make a huge difference. I know that some of you, if you just want to work on a table, it's okay. I'm not going to harsh you. You got, it's your class. You do what you're going to do. You're going to get some new options working on a mat. You're going to be able to use your legs and feet in new ways to be able to save your hands even more. You're really going to like this. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you again so much. And thank you, Andrea, for being the model.
Thank you.